So, in keeping with this week's theme, it would seem that Sony is on the warpath when it's coming to shoring up the defenses of From Software's IP Bloodborne. And at this point, it's almost like there's a secret competition going on between Sony and Nintendo about which company can be more litigious when it comes to shutting down fan-made projects. Quote, "I have now been provided with evidence that MarkScan is working under Sony to issue a legitimate DMCA takedown on my video." Walther subsequently explained that the takedown was not aimed at the video itself, but the download link in the description. In compliance with the request, Walther removed the link, but also said she had taken the decision to, quote, "not make the fan game available to download in the future." Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hard Light Network. So, in keeping with this week's theme, it would seem that Sony is on the warpath when it's coming to shoring up the defenses of From Software's IP Bloodborne. It's a bit of an odd situation considering Sony doesn't own the Bloodborne IP itself, but rather exclusive rights to the publishing and distribution of the title. A key piece of information that goes a long way in explaining why there hasn't been an official port of the Bloodborne title to PC. Sony, like many other publishers in the industry, seems to have a deep and abiding hatred for its customers that's only outmatched by its own greed. And at this point, it's almost like there's a secret competition going on between Sony and Nintendo about which company can be more litigious when it comes to shutting down fan-made projects. But of course, before we get into today's article, guys, I wanted to ask you to please hit that like button if you like this video, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future, and also leave a comment down below on your thoughts on Sony's actions. Of course, there are other ways you can support the work on this channel, such as leaving a super thanks down below or by becoming a member to gain access to exclusive content and perks not available anywhere else. But without any further ado, let's get into today's article. And of course, today's topic comes to us from PC Gamer from an article entitled "Sony Enforcers Execute a Legal Visceral Attack on the Bloodborne PSX Demake, continuing its mission to eradicate all traces of FromSoft's beloved RPG on PC." And the article begins as follows. It's been a hectic week for throwback game specialist and Bloodborne superfan Lilith Walther. The designer behind Nightmare Cart revealed a nifty-looking expansion for her brilliant Bloodborne spoof a few days ago, which brings sniper rifles and harpies to its cosmic horror karting. Yet, around the same time, Sony took a threaded cane to her earlier work, a more straightforward demake of Bloodborne with PS1-era visuals, released in 2021. In a thread on Blue Sky, Walther outlined the situation, which started with her posting a video promoting Bloodborne PSX on YouTube. Quote, "I have now been provided with evidence that MarkScan is working under Sony to issue a legitimate DMCA takedown on my video." Walther subsequently explained that the takedown was not aimed at the video itself, but the download link in the description. In compliance with the request, Walther removed the link, but also said she had taken the decision to, quote, "not make the fan game available to download in the future." This is likely because MarkScan, the company working as a copyright enforcer on behalf of Sony, also issued a takedown notice for the Bloodborne PSX Twitch.io page. In its notice via The Verge, MarkScan claims that it has found, quote, "copyright infringements on the itch page," and that Walther is therefore, quote, "indulging in acts of digital piracy." This isn't the first time Walther has come under Sony's legal eye. Nightmare Cart was originally named Bloodborne Cart, before Walther changed it following a request from Sony to ditch the Bloodborne branding. This time, Sony seems to be playing hardball, however. Perhaps that's because MarkScan is cracking down on Bloodborne-related fan projects at large. The enforcer was also behind the recent removal of a 60 FPS patch compatible with the Shad PS4 emulator, one of the few ways you can technically play Bloodborne on PC. The patch's creator, Lance McDonald, commented on X that the DMCA takedown was, quote, "from the same company that SIE hired to take down the 60 FPS patch." While I accept Sony's right to protect its copyrighted works, MarkScan's approach to enforcement seems extremely heavy-handed, especially considering how Sony dealt with the Bloodborne Cart situation. As PCG's Ted Litchfield notes in his reporting of the 60 FPS patch takedown, Sony's argument there seems particularly spurious, given, quote, The consumer right to modify software for non-commercial use has strong precedent. These slash-and-burn tactics have naturally promoted speculation that they might be paving the way for a more official release of Bloodborne on PC. But even if that's the case, surely it would be wise to service the audience before clamping down on these frankly harmless fan projects. So there you have it, guys. Just another example on the ever-growing list of companies exercising their nonsensical corporate logic. Bloodborne, as a uniquely themed entry into the Soulsborne series, could have had the potential to outperform all of the other Dark Souls games, especially if it wasn't limited to a PS4 release. I will never understand why these companies continually cut off their nose to spite their face in regards to potential profitability and giving the fan base what they actually want, just to seemingly make a point. And in order to demonstrate just how popular Bloodborne is with the Soulsborne community, all we have to do is compare the sales figures of Bloodborne's single release on PlayStation 4 with all of the ports of Dark Souls, Dark Souls Remastered, and Dark Souls 2 combined. And just to further illustrate its popularity amongst the franchise, I remind you again that a single PS4 port of Bloodborne nearly sold as many copies as Dark Souls 3, by far the most popular entry into the franchise. The numbers don't lie, and Bloodborne fans have done everything short of invading Sony headquarters in order to get a PC port. The number of downloads of Bloodborne PSX alone show that there is an audience ripe for a PC port, but for whatever reason, Sony refuses to relent on their position. Over 100,000 people downloaded the Demake before it was finally taken down. That's over $6 million in potential profits that they could have made themselves if they would just release the game for PC players. But instead of making money, they're spending money having a third-party company go after fans for making free downloadable projects. And to tell you the truth, because of that fact, this whole copyright infringement argument seems to be nothing more than legal theater. The company is not only wasting their own time and resources, but the time and resources of a fan who wants to do nothing more than enjoy more of the world that they've created. Hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of fans worldwide are being denied access to art because this company is greedy for a profit that they're not going to see anyway. If this free-to-play PS1 style Demake truly is copyright infringement, then what else qualifies? Fan animations? Artwork? Cosplays? I know it might sound a little hyperbolic to take it to that extreme, but that's exactly how ridiculous this entire story comes across to me personally. From Software is one of the few modern gaming companies that's actually bringing players what they want, giving them good, full, well-rounded experiences with unique themes, good story, and good gameplay, and Sony seems hell-bent on trying to destroy that. At this point, we're gonna get a Bloodborne Fortnite crossover before we get a PC port of the game. But to tell you the truth, that really just underscores the absolute state of modern gaming. The corporate mindset and profit-driven motivations of these companies have taken them further away from the culture than ever. It has separated them further and further from the art of game design and has driven a wedge between them and their communities. It's gotten so bad that the worst offenders at these companies have begun to chide and mock their fan base for complaining about the products that they create. At this point, even if there is an official PC port of Bloodborne somewhere on the horizon, I don't feel motivated to purchase it, given the way that this company has decided to treat its customers. And that's a crying shame, because From Software is genuinely one of the few good companies left, and Sony seems hell-bent on dragging them down into the dust with them. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched up to this point. If you liked the video, do me a solid and hit that like button so it can spread through the algorithm. Leave a comment with your thoughts down below on how you feel about how these companies are behaving, and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the content that I've got coming up for you guys in the future. Unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to learn their lesson anytime soon, and I doubt there will be any shortage of stories like this coming up in the future. Thankfully, though, gaming and gaming culture is such a vast tapestry of experiences that there's plenty of good to talk about alongside the bad. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.